and welcome to the first episode of the Pickup podcast. So this is part of the Pickup universe, one of our shows, and it's more of a long form podcast, sort of about anything we want it to be, really. But today we're sort of going to give a little introduction, I suppose, to Pickup, the channel, and what we want to achieve with it, our aims, our ambitions, and sort of where we're going with it.
Yeah, we've had some big ideas, haven't we? And I think it's just time to get going with them now.
Yeah,
and put them out into the universe and say, this is who we are and this is what we do.
Yeah, definitely. So, sort of by way of an introduction, the Pickup is a podcast and YouTube channel. So the Pickup is sort of name of the channel, and then there's going to be a number of different shows running beneath that name, I suppose, isn't there?
Yeah, the Pickup is kind of like the umbrella term, isn't it? And then, as you say, we're going to have kind of different shows hosted by different people. The guests are going to be different.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get as many people on it and included as possible, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got sort of devised about 4 shows so far, haven't we?
Yeah, we don't want to run before we can walk, really.
Yeah.
We want like, I think 4 is probably enough for the first year or whatever, maybe, and then we'll branch out possibly, but I think 4 is a really good number.
Yeah, so obviously this show, The Pickup, is one of the shows, obviously shares the same name as the channel, but this is more of like I guess a long form podcast, which is going to go in any direction we want it to, really. I suppose it's a space where we can talk about anything we want, current events that we're excited about, or any sort of topic, and we can get guests on, different hosts, etc. But yeah, it's pretty sort of open-ended type thing, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's kind of the title dictates what it is.
Yeah,
like we just pick something up and we'll run with it. It's kind of like we kind of discussed it a bit more of a magazine-y kind of thing, didn't we? Where you just pick up a magazine and you kind of that's kind of what we want to do. The Pickup to be the flagship show, really, don't we?
Yeah.
And everything else underneath that kind of supplement it and help along, but this one to be what we kind of do.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and then we've got the big interview, which is another flagship, or hoping to be flagship anyway. So that's another sort of long form podcast, but it's all going to be about the guest. So we're going to try and get some interesting people on to come on and tell their story and find out, how they got to where they are and stuff like that. So yeah, that's again, it can be anyone really with any story, but we want it to be interesting, informative, entertaining. Yeah,
and one thing we've discussed is possibly getting guests to interview guests as well. So that would be quite an interesting way of doing it. We're not like the star, if you know what I mean. That's not what we're aiming for at all. We want it to be like a big community of people. We want it to be collaborative, and that's where you find the best content, really, I think.
Yeah.
So, but maybe potentially getting a former guest to introduce and interview a new guest would be really, really cool way of doing things, possibly.
Yeah. Then we've got the 10-minute tea break, which is essentially what it says on the tin. Again, it's open-ended in terms of like subject matter and content matter, but it's a lot shorter form. It's the rule is we've got 10 minutes to discuss or debate a topic of our choice or of your choice, if you've got any suggestions. And I suppose it's just something we can throw out a couple of times a week to keep regular content pumping out.
Yeah, and it's just kind of way more informal.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the main things is it's not going to be formal regardless, really. But like the 10-minute tea break is really like, is that you might have 10 minutes while you're on your lunch or while you're on your morning tea break or whatever, and you think, I just want to consume a bit of content or whatever, and that is your ready-made video or podcast that you can just, maybe you've got a 10-minute commute, all these kind of things. So yeah, they're going to be a place where we just pick a topic and word vomit a little bit. We just kind of, it is just a couple of mates.
Yeah, and no preparation really, just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Opinions and debates and conversation really. And then we've got a music theme show called Shuffle. That's your baby, so then if you want to give a little introduction.
So like one thing that when we were discussing about the pickup and having it as an umbrella thing was that we kind of said to each other we should each have like our show. And Shuffle is my one. It's got to be like hosted by me every week, hopefully. Well, not every week, but every time we do it, I want it to be hosted by me and different guests, different music genres, everything that you can possibly imagine. I don't want it to be just the music that we listen to, because that could be quite insular. I want to listen to new music, and that's kind of where it's come from. I want input and I want collaboration, and that will be brilliant. It's got to be kind of like your NME sort of New Music Express. What are we listening to this week? What have we had on Shuffle?
Music
it can be old music, new music, remixes, anything that you can possibly think of. And hopefully we've got a way of working it so that we can, even on Spotify, we can interject the actual tunes that we're talking about. And you can listen along with us essentially. That's something that was quite important to us, that we can intersperse the music legally, and having it all in the one place, rather than having to stop a podcast, go over to Spotify or YouTube or whatever else, and then listen to the music and carry on like that. But yeah, it's just kind of an informal, let's listen to music, let's talk about music. It's something that we're massively passionate about, isn't it, music? I don't think we could have done a project like this without music.
No. I suppose like the pickup idea was born out of our last podcast that we tried. So we started a podcast during lockdown, dipped our toe into the podcasting world, as it were.
Like every man and his dog.
And that was very much music based, called The Album Review Show. And we discussed different albums that we liked or didn't like. And it was about 45 minutes to an hour discussion about them, wasn't it? Again, like we didn't really have like any music clips in it, and it was quite niche. I think we really enjoyed the process and really enjoyed making podcasts. But probably, the subject matter for us wasn't really working anymore.
I think the subject matter for anyone, I don't think it was. It's one of them where I quite enjoy a full record. I like to consume an album in its entirety. I like to, but also there is times where I can't. And I just want like that one song or whatnot. And I think that reflects the majority of people who listen to music people who go, oh, I'll listen to that song, or that song came on the radio, that's sticking in my head, I'm going to listen to that again. So was making an entire podcast about really dissecting a record, a full record in its entirety, I think was way too niche of a thing. And it was the good thing was it was a really, really good learning experience.
It was,
And like, sometimes knowing what you don't want to do is as important as knowing what you want to do. And us doing them 10 episodes or whatever it was realising that we don't want to do this. We want to do it a little bit more broad, and we want to include more things and more people and more genres and more. Because we were doing during lockdown, we were doing Friday Night Lives so on Instagram Live we'd join together. And we'd just talk about everything that got released that day. And I actually enjoyed, it was kind of one of them things where are we enjoying doing that more than the actual podcast?
And I think that's where Shuffle came from, really.
That's kind of where Shuffle's been born out of.
A recorded version of Friday Night Lives. But
yeah,
as you say, it was just easier you don't have to record anything, it's just going out live, isn't it? And then it's just easy content to make, really. And but yeah, I suppose that was like the magazine style that we realised we wanted, but then the name didn't really fit with the magazine style,
Yeah.
because it was particularly directed to reviewing albums. You couldn't really expand what you were doing without, I don't know, changing the name, I suppose. So,
yeah, I and the thing is, I did love doing it.
yeah,
But as I say, it was great to now know, oh, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
we want to do this.
Yeah.
So that was important. And I think as well on our part, as like a selfish thing, there's nowhere near as much preparation needed for Shuffle.
Yeah.
So Shuffle is turn up with some songs that you like and that you can talk about for a bit.
Yeah.
And it is just a very informal chat with friends, with guests, about stuff you've been listening to recently. You don't have to force yourself, find time to force yourself to listen to a record that you might not like, to then find topics to talk about. It's a lot more natural and a lot more a lot more kind of informal and
off the cuff sort of.
Off the cuff,
I suppose both the show in terms of the album review show, the recorded show, and even the Friday Night Lives required a lot of pre-production and research, really, didn't it? Especially the Friday nights. Obviously, it worked all right because we didn't really have anything else to do in lockdown, so we could listen to pretty much every album that came out on that Friday because it was like...
There was nothing else to do.
Yeah, and there was only a few albums coming out per week as well.
And literally, I think the week restrictions lifted and we were allowed to go out, that's when it fell apart. Because it was no one else is gonna be listening to this because no one's in the house just sat on the phone. Everyone else is out, and we're out as well. So, but I think the preparation thing was important. Because we want this to be sustainable as a thing that we do going forward for a long time, and the work required on the front end, so not even with the post-production, because post-production for something like this is quite intensive. If you don't realise, so there's 3 cameras on at the moment, there's microphones, there's editing, and then graphics on top, and theme tunes, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and we do it because we love it. But if we can even reduce that, if you've got, I don't know, 3 hours worth of post-production per show, you don't want to be doing 3 hours of pre-production.
Exactly.
It makes the whole thing 8 hours of work, so that's absolutely wild, isn't it? That's completely unsustainable. We both work full time, and the guests that we want to get on, we're not going to be able to say, do you want to be on our podcast? You've also got to do loads of homework. That's not what we want at all. We want it to be a lot more off the cuff and just easy. Like someone could literally come in right now off the street and we could record an episode like that, and it would be interesting and would have people's attention.
Definitely.
I think that's where we're coming from with it.
And even as you're talking about sort of learning from the album review show, even the processes in terms of, like we just mentioned there, the filming and everything, we've learned, like obviously we've invested in some gear which is more geared towards long form content. You learn little bits like that, like not all cameras can film past 30 minutes, for example, and you've got to get up and press record again and come back, and you got to then try and make that look like it never happened. So now we've got cameras which you can just leave and not worry about, hopefully. And also, like for me, the quality both in terms of content and the look and feel of it is important.
The aesthetic of things were important to you.
That's really important to me and going forward, and so the cameras we've got, the lighting we've got, the microphones we've got have all gonna contribute towards a high quality product for you guys, and I'm excited really to put in the hard work and make it look nice, and try and, as you say, make it consistent and level up as well. Because obviously, you don't really want to stagnate. We're doing this in your house at the moment. We're in your spare bedroom. We've made it look as nice as we can. And we've had mugs made which look great, and not inside yet, but
they will be. But our plans are that we would like a purpose-built studio that we can everything's set up all the time. We don't have to pack stuff down because it's someone's house, and and then put it all. It's gonna look the same every time. It's gonna look really, really well. It's gonna be lit really well, and as you say, you don't have to kind of worry about stuff.
Yeah,
I think as well for me, like, the previous podcast that we did was important for us knowing that we can do a podcast.
Yeah.
Ability wise, because I think that obviously the first I watched our first podcast that we did, the Miley Cyrus one, was it?
The Cribs was the first one.
Right, so I watched like a second one, the Miley Cyrus one, and it was good. It was good, but I could see I could because it was me.
Yeah.
I could see all of the cuts.
Yeah.
And one thing that I didn't want out of all of these shows, especially Shuffle, was cuts. I want it to be, we press record, the show happens, and then we press stop, and then that's what you hear and that's what you see. That was quite important to me, that I wanted the kind of quality continuation of. Yeah,
definitely.
I can sometimes hear and see cuts.
Yeah.
And that takes me out of the experience. It's like when you're watching a film and something about it, maybe like a product, really like shoehorned in product placement, or an actor out of the blue, or it's just something takes you out of the experience, and you think, oh yeah, I'm watching a film, aren't I? And I think this is kind of, it was important to me that, it was important to you that the quality of aesthetics were, but for me, I think it was that, we're not cutting our mistakes out. We make mistakes. If you haven't realised, we make a lot of mistakes, and that's fine. I think it's endearing. I think I quite like it when I listen to original content or watch original content where you leave the mistakes in.
It's
people
like
talk about old albums having us, with us. People talk about old records and songs and singles or whatever, and they think, oh, it's them things. It's the mistakes that they left in that make it amazing. And content nowadays can be so processed and so polished that it just loses all personality.
The natural flow of conversation.
Flow of conversation. That's what people like listening and watching for. And I think, it was important to me that natural thing was left in.
But first of all, like, we've got a lot better from doing that podcast and doing the lives, especially
the lives
in terms of like flow and conversation and stuff. But then also, I think a lot of that was down to me to begin with. I was super conscious of like all the airs and gaps and stuff like that, and I think I just went well too far on editing every air out, which is a lot, because like we basically did after every other word it was air or a long gap or something. But I think I got sort of better at it as the podcast went on. By episode 8 or 9, I was basically making like 1 or 2 cuts per show then. Which is what this is going to be.
And also us doing it, we said air less.
We did,
which is, I mean, you're always going to say air, and now I'm really conscious about me saying air, so which is quite ironic and funny. But I'm on like a group on Facebook that's like podcasters or something, and it was when we started the podcast, I just joined it just to see what other people were doing, what was it like, and amateur podcasts were like, and it's quite funny. Literally yesterday, someone posted a big post, and it was, "What's everyone's opinions on editing the airs?"
Right, okay.
And it was quite interesting that some people are take them out, take them all out, but then other people are like, as we've said, that's not natural.
Exactly.
People don't talk like that. People say air a lot. People say people make weird noises. People make mistakes. We're gonna make mistakes. It's fine, so leave them in for me.
I think on the first one we had 2 cameras as well, maybe. So it was literally like going from me to you quite quick. In some places it was like to make it look. But as I say, we've got better at that hopefully now. But it's important to go through being mediocre, I think, at the beginning and learning your trade. So I think this is going to be the same sort of thing.
Absolutely,
bear with us. We are probably going to be a bit mediocre or whatever to begin with and make mistakes and stuff. But it's all about the upward curve, isn't it? An upward trajectory, and
you've always got to try and level up and and kind of review things. We're gonna do 10 episodes, watch them all, and then go, right, well, how can we make this better? We always going to try and make it better for the audience watching, don't we? It's something that we've always tried to carry over in everything that we do. We've been in bands for years, and one thing that's always maybe too much on our mind is how is this being received? What is the audience experience going to be? You know, and I would say that possibly to our detriment that we're kind of too focused on that to be musicians, to be original musicians, and that's kind of one of the things that did hold us back back in the day, but it's something that will help with this kind of thing.
Even little details down to like the fact that a lot of podcasts have microphones, tabletop microphones, don't they, or
the boom
arms or something, and it's sort of in front of the mouth, and you can get shots, obviously, move your camera around to be able to see the mouth as well as the microphone, which I think is important because you don't want to block the mouth out completely, but I think to remove any of that, I thought lapel mics would be a better option, and we're sort of sitting away from the table and we're still mic'd up properly, and we can sort of look at each other without having to worry about speaking into the mic and stuff. So little details like that, even, I think, is like...
And you don't have to shout.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big thing. I think it can be quite common when you listen to podcasts, especially kind of new podcasts when people aren't quite used to it or aren't wearing headphones. They've just got a microphone and they kind of really enunciate and like speak.
It changes the way you speak.
They really project, whereas this is how we talk. It's the normal volume, and hopefully, like, again, that natural aspect of things is. This was the most, because we did have table microphones, didn't we? And it was just one of them. We said we can't see our mouth. We can't. This is really unnatural. We wouldn't do a podcast like this.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were doing that.
Yeah, it makes you a bit more stiff and like, you're sitting in place and stuff, aren't you? And a bit too conscious about the microphone rather than just being yourself and like sit back in the chair. And
I think you need headphones in that situation. And again, it's kind of a thing where you're closing yourself off from. I know you've got then everyone's microphone in your ears, but to me, I watch podcasts where they're wearing headphones, and I just think, take them off. You literally sat 3 feet away from each other. Why do you need headphones?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it has become a staple of podcasts that people have these boom arms with the SM7 and the headphones. So that doesn't define a podcast.
I was going to mention that if you're ever getting a bit more technical and equipment wise, the SM7B is sort of massive. Like pretty much every podcast you see now, especially on YouTube, they're using one of them, aren't they? And I was tempted to go for them, but just because of literally, I guess going with the crowd or whatever, being part of the crowd using them. But as you say, like the listener doesn't really know what an SM7B is, and
if they do, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't listen to it, like going back to music. You don't listen to music and think, that Neumann U87 on the vocal sounds great, doesn't it? Just no one cares. And I feel like people started to care, especially during lockdown when they became a little bit scarce because so many people started podcasts. So many people needed that equipment, especially kind of celebrities that were doing that kind of work during lockdown. If you were, I don't know, promoting a film or an album, just having that set up all the time would be handy, wouldn't it? So, all this kind of equipment did become quite scarce, and it became quite a rare kudos sort of thing. It's ridiculous. I had one years ago from when I owned a studio. It was like, I hated it. I got rid of it. Didn't like it at all.
I think you still need to do quite a lot of post-production on it, don't you, on the SM7B?
With a technical kind of thing. The SM7's a very, very quiet microphone. So you need something to lift on the front end, the power of the microphone. and then it doesn't. It's quite a flat sounding microphone. There's no character to it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why people use it.
Yeah.
Because it won't character the sound of your voice, but then it just sounds boring to me, you know. I mean, that's a very nerdy kind of technical thing that we but it shows the consideration, I think, that we've gone through, that we haven't talked about all these things. We have talked about the cameras that we're using, what lenses are we using, what microphones are we using, what lighting are we using, because that's the next one, isn't it, that we want to invest in. We want to up level our lighting setup.
Well, it's not looking too bad on.
It's not looking too bad, you know. And the thing is, if you listen to this on Spotify, you've
got no idea what we're talking about.
You just
go
don't
over
care.
to YouTube.
You wouldn't care, would you?
No.
Which is probably why we've left it till the last thing to do, because if half people are listening on Spotify and half of the people are listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, then get everything else right and then do the lighting.
And I think in terms of starting this new podcast, obviously I sort of pitched the idea to you, and you had a sort of similar thing in your head as well, didn't you? And in terms of that magazine, more broad thing, and we can go sort of in any direction and appeal to a lot more people with it. I think I was inspired by a lot of the podcasts I was listening to over lockdown. I guess Jack Mate's Happy Hour is a good one. This is, I guess, the pickup show. Can be a little bit like, I've got that in mind as a reference point, maybe. When it's just the three of them, when they haven't got a guest on, and they're just chatting about whatever they want to chat about. Diary of a CEO, I really liked in terms of the interview, the big interview episodes. And the Anfield Wrap in terms of
they can't not be an influence. They've kind of cornered the market and influenced so many. And I know there was people doing the same thing at the same time, but I feel like they've absolutely nailed. They've nailed the niche and the broad.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
Yeah.
You know, they have the Anfield Wrap as a show about football, but then they have different shows under the umbrella of the Anfield Wrap, and that was our kind of. We've kind of tried to mirror that a little bit, haven't we, and use it as an influence, and maybe it's a jumping off point, and then it changes in a year or so or whatever. But for now, this is something that we enjoy. That it makes sense to us in our heads, doesn't it? And they've got AFQ. They used to have the Weekender.
Still got that.
Okay. So you talk about music and all that kind of stuff. So they've nailed the niche and they've nailed the broad as well, and I think they're a big influence. That core team of the people who started the Anfield Wrap. We'd love to have them on here, wouldn't we? Just because they're good at podcasts, they're interesting people. They've got Robbo and Neil Atkinson, John Gibbons, Paul Senior, Rob Gutman. All these people are interesting people who have kind of made their way through their career, and just interesting guys.
Definitely.
Would be great to.
And I like to, we were saying before, we want a community of people to help contribute, and that sort of, they've inspired that really as well. We don't want it to just be me, Paul and Andy, who's the other contributor at the moment. We want it to be loads of different people we can choose from, a big group of regular contributors, diverse group of people. We don't want it to just be white men.
White middle-aged straight men. No, that's definitely not what we want. We want it to be a really diverse thing, and it would be interesting to me if down the line people would say to us kind of, I really like this show, but I really don't like that show. Because I'm kind of there with Anfield Wrap. There's somewhere I'm just like, that's gonna. I've overdone it on the football podcasts. To be honest, that's just too much. There's a show before, during, and after every single game, a preview of everything, and you're just like, I'm alright. I am really alright. I'll just listen to the broad stuff over here and maybe some of the interviews, and then that's a
good thing. That's a good thing about it. You can pick and choose I suppose. If you do want to go into that level of detail with it, you can. But if you're more like yourself, who wants a bit more of just a broad overview or a quick reaction to a game, then you don't have to listen to all of them. And I suppose that's the beauty of having different shows underneath the umbrella, is that people can pick their favourites and don't have to watch the others if they don't want. So as I said, we do want loads of different contributors. So if you are interested in either being a guest on a podcast or presenting a podcast, even,
if you've got an idea for a podcast and you've never really been able to pull it off, we'd love to help and be able to bring that to life. And that's your show. That's the one that you look at, look after, kind of thing. So
definitely get in touch if you're interested in getting involved in the pickup. And we'd love to get as many people as we can on board and be able to change it up and get some fresh faces in every week, really. So definitely drop us an email. I don't know, what is it, hello@thepickup.uk.
We'll put it on the bottom. Because it's all very new, isn't it? We're on all of the socials, on all of the things.
We'll probably do a separate video doing like a call to action for people as well, because I'm sure people might have turned off by now if they're bored. So.
I mean, one thing I was going to say to you is, like, have you got 2 or 3 like big like goals in your head? What is something that you'd be really happy if we hit that goal?
I think first of all I want to hit the 100 show mark, and like that's a combination of all the shows. That's not 100 just, of each show, but I want to get to 100 releases and like just see where we are after that, because I think we only did 10 with the album review show, and that was over a long period, so it wasn't consistent. Like for me, like I really want to be consistent. I want to be releasing at least 2 a week, hopefully. In my mind, we'll do 1 of the big shows per week, so to start off with, at least anyway. So it'll be like cycle through the big interview, the pickup and shuffle over like a 3-week cycle, and then we'll do like 1 or 2 hopefully 10-minute tea breaks per week to supplement that as well. Regular content for people. I want to reach 100 shows and see where we are. I want a big group of people really who are also passionate about podcasting and broadcasting and stuff, and to build a community really of guests and presenters and stuff who can all contribute to the quality of content. What about yourself?
For me, like there's a goal in my head of a live episode. I'd love to have like a live audience, be at the place where we could have a live audience. We're on a stage of some kind, but in this sort of thing, we film it, we broadcast it live, and it's live as well, and we can get that instant reaction with people. I think that'd be really, really fun. That's a kind of a goal for me, is be able to do a live episode of some kind.
A lot of podcasts are doing like live tours and stuff at the moment as well, aren't they? Which seems to be really taken off, and it'd be great to do something like that. Try and
there's a great. We've been to a few. We went to Scroobius Pip podcast and the Distraction Pieces, and we've been to a couple as well. But Leaf in Liverpool is like a really, really good setting. It's a brilliant, aesthetically pleasing place, and it's kind of like a nice venue, really, isn't it? And I've got that in my head for when we get to a place that we can do it.
Definitely.
But going back to that, what you were saying about a group of people who are passionate about broadcasting, it kind of got me thinking then that people might not know, but Mark did a journalism degree. And I feel like this is kind of woken up that interest that you had in journalism.
Because I was in uni from like 2006 to 2009. So,
and that's that you can kind of map the downfall of journalism around that time, really, can't you?
No, I'm saying I got a bit disillusioned with the whole thing with uni in general, and didn't end up going into journalism, but you know, I am very much interested in like the digital age of YouTube, and you know, as we mentioned, the Anfield Wrap, more like independent self-journalism. Yeah. Obviously in football's case, fan-led journalism, but like this, as you say, like independent sort of self-created stuff. And yeah, I really want to build like a channel, which is what we're doing, I suppose. Look at it, I guess, as like your own TV channel.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of another goal that I've got in my head is that if we could do a series or an episode on a radio station, a local radio station or something, that'd be great. Yeah. Even if we just made like a new show for that. Yeah. That would be kind of like a nice pat on the back moment, wouldn't it? If you could get a regular show on a radio station, that's something big, I think. Yeah,
I suppose from like a self-indulgent sort of point of view, like it'd be good to, I think you mentioned before, like have our own like proper studio space, which we can leave everything set up in, and obviously this is great for now to start off in, but yeah, hopefully we'll, at some point there'll be a tipping point where maybe we start making a little bit of money from it, and we can reinvest that money into studio space and equipment and stuff, and then like paying for leveling up on guests, I suppose, as well, because that'd be a good thing as well, to start getting a higher caliber of guests, I suppose, on the big interview.
Because that's another thing, if you've got people that you would like to hear an interview with, that you think these aren't being listened to or whatever, we're happy to.
Exactly, I mean, I was like high caliber, that's not to discredit anyone who isn't high caliber, like we just want any interesting story, really.
Exactly,
you know, that's from a purely, I guess, numbers point of view, isn't it? Like getting more famous people on, but we want anyone and everyone who's got a story to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's exciting. We've done a few episodes already, so we did a shuffle, which might be out by the time this goes out, I'm not sure yet. So definitely check that out, and a couple of 10-minute tea breaks as well. And it's just been really fun so far, hasn't it?
I really enjoying getting back into it, definitely, because there was some stuff that we did when we were doing the old podcast, so that has bled into us doing the more magazine-y, informal, this kind of thing, which were some of the live events that we kind of covered.
Yeah, the Sefton Park pilot.
The Sefton Park pilot episode that we did, we absolutely loved it, didn't we? So being on site, you know, doing the kind of pieces to camera, getting all of the footage that we need, the B-roll, everything that goes into that, we absolutely adored it.
Yeah, sending the drone up and everything, and getting nice shots.
It was just one of them things that it really excited us, it really got us going, it really kind of got all the creative juices flowing as well. And that I really, really would like to be doing more like event-based stuff as well. So if there's any events that you've got coming up, that if you're listening to this, if you've got any events coming up and you'd like us to cover it, by all means let us know. And if we can get there and we can figure out some kind of way of covering the event, we'd love to do it.
Yeah, another influence, I suppose, in terms of like the live event stuff, which I really enjoyed over lockdown, and obviously it's completely different to what we're going to be doing, but TPD TV on YouTube, I think, are great. Like, they obviously famous for like Leeds Festival, really, and then it's more of a vlog style. You do like 1.5-hour vlogs and stuff about the whole weekend and all their mates. It's like really raw type stuff, isn't it? It's like you're there yourself, and I think that's why I liked it over lockdown, because we couldn't go to these type of things. So I just found them on YouTube and then went back over a load of, like, they went to America and stuff.
You watched a lot of that, didn't you? Yeah.
Just sort of like, it was a good substitute for not being able to go watching other people go, I suppose.
I found that I started watching like YouTubers that were into like camping.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't go outside. Yeah. It was all I was doing was watching people walk up mountains and camp and wild camping and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It was funny. And then started watching I think every possible live set
Yeah.
of every band that I could find, you know. Yeah, we had a few nights, didn't we, where we all kind of were on Zoom, the dreaded Zoom, but, and then we all pressed play at the same time on the same live set and had a few drinks and stuff, but obviously it was just trying to fill a gap, wasn't it?
Yeah. But they do some really good stuff on live events, and as I say, completely different to what we're doing, but like I suppose an influence in the sense of, you know, they're getting out there into the field, going to interesting places, and that's what we want. It's not all going to be studio based. We are going to be out and about, hopefully, and on location.
Yeah. There was one major thing that you can think of that you've learned from the last one that we did that you really want to put into this one. What do you think it will be?
From the album review show, it's a tough one. I
think for me, it's the preparation.
Yeah.
For me, like I've learned that you should be able to call your mate, then come round and you do a podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
It should be like self-serving almost. It should just happen.
Yeah.
And then the post processing should be as little as possible.
Yeah. I suppose that's the main thing, really, isn't it? Making it as sustainable as possible going forward, as we mentioned before. Trying to cut down on editing time and worrying about mistakes, and just streamlining the recording and editing process, I suppose.
Yeah. One of the things that we did that I absolutely loved that we really want to do again and we want to maybe do a bit more of was we did a live full 3 hours of the Eurovision Song Contest.
That was fantastic.
And we kind of did our own commentary of it.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know, and people do that now, don't they, on Twitch for football games and stuff. But
watch along,
the watch along of the Eurovision that we did was just so fun. It was so silly,
wasn't it? Yeah.
I got so drunk, and it was just a really fun night. And it's one thing, you know, we've joked around about us going to Italy next year to actually be there and stuff. But you know, if we just do it here again and we just do a live and we have a few more people maybe and we get a bit of a sweepstake involved and it becomes a little bit more competitive, I think it'd be really, really fun. But that for me was one thing that I'd love to carry forward into this kind of thing of doing watch-alongs and doing you know, for example, Emma Raducanu is in the US Open final tonight, isn't she? So as of now, at the time of recording, obviously we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but a watch along of that would be great.
It would,
you know, really getting behind someone and tennis commentary can be a bit. But if it was someone that you've bought into the Pickup universe, if you're a fan of the Pickup or whatever, and they're covering the event that you're watching, why not stream it along with, turn the commentary off and stream us you know, kind of be in the commentary. So I think that's another thing that I'd absolutely love to kind of carry on and carry forward.
Because I think we went into it thinking we're just doing it because we want to do it. It was a fun thing, wasn't it? And weren't expecting anyone to tune in, and it turned out to be our most popular live stream ever, by a long distance. It was
1,500 people
from all around Europe. And I think it was just
from Romania, I'm checking in, you know.
Happened to hashtag it on Facebook, and it just went mad on Facebook, didn't it? Loads of people interacting with us and laughing along with us and stuff. It was really good.
It was just nice to have that community thing, because obviously at that point during it was peak lockdown, you know, no one could really do anything or go anywhere or ever and have people that community spirit, you know, and it was just really, really amazing. So I'd love to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a great shout. So I think we've gone long enough on this episode. I think. How long have we gone? Can't see the screen, but I think it's about half an hour or something, isn't it? But,
we've done enough.
Yeah. So we'll call it a day in this episode, but we'll be back probably in a couple of weeks with a new episode of The Pickup, maybe with a guest or something, we don't know.
But just remember to hit subscribe, follow us on all of the things if you haven't already, because we'll be putting stuff out, and you know, if you don't want to miss it, then if you do want to miss it, by all means, don't subscribe, unsubscribe if you don't want it.
Oh, and also, sorry, shout out to Polka Dot Crafts.
Yes.
For the mugs. Obviously, these are just for us at the moment, but you know, who knows if there's interest. We might put some on sale at some point. And she also did a logo for us, so check her out on Instagram at Polka Dot Crafts, I think.
We'll link it now.
Yeah. But yeah, our socials at time of recording aren't really live yet, so I'm not going to reel them off because I'm not 100% sure on them, but yeah, we'll link them in the description for when the episode goes out, so check that out. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, this was fun. It was nice to see you again.
Yeah. Hopefully it was nice to see us from your perspective.
Anyway, nice one. See you later.
Nice one.